Okay, good morning. My name is Prashanti and I'm doing a paper under linguistic studies. Okay, for my linguistic studies today I'm going to present my topic. Okay, the topic that I'm going to present today is I need to examine and reflect on the issue that occurs with using semantic, pragmatics, morphology and syntax in English language. Okay, with this kind of four various components, I need to give exact or relevant examples that gives or suits the component. So first of all, before I move into my further explanation, let me explain to you. Okay, when we are talking about English language, it is a complicated system where it has a lot of modules. Okay, there are few here which are semantics, pragmatics, morphology, and syntax. So what do I mean by semantics? Semantics, it gives importance to the meaning of the word and phrase. Okay, when you are constructing a sentence, it gives much importance to the words that is used in the sentence and the phrases that is used in the sentence. Okay, whereas pragmatics is a division of linguistic where it gives importance to the viewpoint of the speaker and the listener. Okay, concentrate on how we interpret the meaning. Okay, how we understand the meaning of the word or the sentences that is used. The third language form is morphology, where morphology gives importance to the structure and the construction of the words. How do we put words in order and everything? That is morphology. And the last one is the syntax. Syntax gives importance mainly to the grammar rules. Okay? When we give more importance to these four various components, we can get language easily, we can acquire the language easily and we can use it in our daily life. Okay, coming into the first linguistic component in detail. I'm going to talk about semantics. Okay, what is semantics? Semantics usually concern on the importance of the word and phrases. Where under semantics, word confusion regularly happens when we are trying to expand the sentence or the language when we are using it in our daily life. What do I mean by word confusion? Word confusion happens when a word has a lot of meanings in different various content. That is word confusion. Okay. For an example here, I have a word bank. When I say bank, it can be a financial institution where I go and take out money, I go and deal with money transaction and so on. Whereas another meaning for bank is side of a river. So when I am using this word, I need to be very clear about what am I talking so that the listener will understand which bank am I referring to. So for that I need a clear or I need to give clear information about what or about the situation. In my personal experience, I do highlight this often or I do have problems in this when I am using one word without more explanation about it. So the listener that is listening to me will be very clueless about what am I talking. Okay, some of the factors that helps or that leads to our confusion. The first one is polyphony. What is polyphony? Polyphony is the phenomena where a single word has a numerous meaning. For an example, the first one, bat. The word bat has two types of meanings. One is an animal that flies. The second one is a thing or an instrument that we use when we are having or when we are doing sport. When I am telling he swung the bat, ambiguity will happen there where the listener isn't sure what am I talking about. Whether he is hitting the bat, or he is using the bat to hit a ball. There are two types of situation here. That is one. Another one, the word bark. The word bark can give me two types of meanings. The first one is the outer layer of a tree. The second one is the sound that a dog makes. So when I just say bark, the listener will not understand which bark am I referring to. So for that, I need to give more information so that the listener will be clear about which type of bark am I talking about. That is the first factor. The second factor, synonym confusion. Synonym confusion happens when the word has parallel meaning, same meaning, and it leads to confusion where we don't get the meaning in the context. Even though synonym carries related ideas, they have a different meaning, different situation, and different setting. For example, slim and skinny both gives us the same meaning, where we are talking about slim meaning being small. But when I use slim, it gives more positive effects or positive way to talk about it rather than skinny. Skinny, I am telling someone, or I am talking about someone who is extensively thin. So that will bring a negative impact on that person. So using wrong synonym also will make the meaning or the tone of the message goes wrong. The second one is pragmatics. Pragmatics deals with the background of the meaning. Pragmatics usually happens when the speaker take up knowledge that isn't actually straightforward. Meaning, when he reads the word or the sentence, he takes up the straightforward meaning and he is not thinking beyond that. Pragmatics, it makes you to think beyond that. Few issues that we need to take upon consideration. The first one, idiomatic expression. When we are talking about idiomatic expression, I have a sample here. Kick the bucket. Kick the bucket literally or non-native speakers will take the meaning as it is. They want to kick the bucket. But then when we are talking about native speakers, they know that they have an inner meaning there. Where kick the bucket means people or someone who is going to die or be dead. My grandfather kicked the bucket last week, meaning he already died. That is the inner meaning. Another one, break a leg. Break a leg, inner meaning is I'm wishing you luck. But then non-native speakers, they take it as the straight meaning. And it might bring problem in between the speaker and the listener because they don't understand with the leg meaning, it gives a good luck. They will think that he or she is holding them. So, that is idiomatic expression. In my own experience, I have seen this in a group discussion where they will be using this kind of literal meaning, but the one that is listening, they don't understand what the speaker trying to say. The second issue that happens under pragmatics is contextual dependence. Okay, contextual dependence, it depends to the surrounding where we are using the language. For example here, can you pass the salt? Is a request rather than a question about ability because we use can. Can usually we use when we are talking about ability, but here it's a request in a dining table content where I want another person to get the salt for me. But then the person who doesn't understand this, he will think that I'm talking about the ability where if he answers me yes I can or no I can't, it means that he is explaining the ability and not granting the request. The third linguistic component is morphology. Morphology is something that creates difficult for the people who is using the language when they don't understand the rules clearly. Okay? When we are teaching morphology, we have to be very clear in teaching it with lots and lots of examples and explanation, because students might take it wrongly and they will use the grammar rules and the forms wrongly to create or to use the language. For example, I have some challenges under morphology. Understanding the morphology, we need a good rules and regulation understanding under language. So if you don't understand irregular verbs, this what will happen. For an example, the past tense of sing is sang, which is not following regular form. What do I mean by regular form? Regular form, everyone knows that whenever it's present to past, they add d, ed or ing. And they don't put in their mind, we do have another type of changes. So they tend to use the word sing and add d or ed or ing and just try to change it to past tense. Here they will go through mistakes and they will use the language the rules wrongly. That is first. The second one, compound words. The word toothbrush. Tooth and brush is two singular words. But then when it combines, it becomes a compound word which brings you another meaning. But students tend to see that as a different singular word every time and they don't see it together. When they see it singularly, it brings a different meaning, like tooth and a brush. But then when they look into a compound words, it is toothbrush, where it's a tool we use to clean our teeth, not about a brush used to brush our teeth. Different type of meaning. The fourth is syntax. Syntax, as I told you, it is always the grammar rules. If you are clear with your grammar rules, you are very clear with what you are doing with syntax. But syntax usually complicated when it comes to complex sentences, very long sentences. Okay, what are the difficulties when we are talking about syntax? Ambiguity in structure. I have a sentence here, visiting relatives can be boring. So here it can be very tricky, where it can be two types of meanings. Visiting relatives can be boring, meaning you are visiting relatives and it's boring for you, or the one that comes and visits you, it's a boring person. It types two types of understanding here, where ambiguity in structure happens. The next one is complex sentence. The man who sold the car that I bought yesterday was very friendly. It's quite long sentence where the reader will not understand who is the person the sentence is pointing to. So the better way is you break it into a smaller sentence so that the reader will be very clear with what he is reading. So after having said all four components and everything, it's very simple. The four components has relationship with each other, which contributes various concerns that can affect communication if you don't get it correctly. So we need to spot the challenges and bring up strategies in order to help other people or help ourselves to acquire the language. So what are the ways that we can cultivate or bring in? The first one, contextual awareness. The person who is using the language should aware about the context, where the surrounding, the situation, or the words that he is going to use, so that it will be easier for the listener to understand. The next one, precision in structure. He should know the word order, the structure of the words, so that it won't be so draggy and tricky for the listener to understand. By these ways, it will enhance the understanding and reduce our miscommunication and enrich our practice in English teaching.